to call the meeting to order. Are you okay? You all set? Okay, good. Thank you. Call the meeting to order, the Shellfish Advisory Board. It is 17:32. And if we could all stand and cite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My mistake, I didn't have the minutes from last meeting. I didn't have them printed off, so next meeting we'll do both minutes from whatever. First order of business is an update from, the final update from Chris Leonard, the Director of Marine Services. For those who are out there in TV land, Chris is leaving next week, so he has the floor. It's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everybody here tonight. Let's give a report.
Let's do that.
We have 3 relay areas that are open right now. We have Ram Island open, we have Great Island to Upper Spectacle Island open, and we have David Road open. Those relay areas are only open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. If one of those days falls on a federal holiday, they're also closed. We know we had a little questioning about that kind of stuff. So those are what we have right now. We are planting in Half Moon Flat Relay right now. Have we broken the 1,000?
1008.
1,008. That's good. So we have 1,008 bushels planted in both sides of the Half Moon Flat relay area. We usually take it up somewhere around 1,500, sometimes more or less, but that's up to everybody to decide going forward here. So that's good to have broken the 1,000 bushel mark. 4,000 left. So we have our 24-foot Carolina skiff, and it has an aging outboard on it. We've had everything from fuel pump issues to key switch issues to, well, cooling issues. And luckily with some backyard mechanics, we were able to make the outboard cooling system work again. And we're kind of taking this to the bitter end, but we do have a new 90-horse Yamaha tiller at Westport Marine Center that is ready to get plugged onto that boat when we see fit. Which is good because I don't know, knock on wood, maybe the outboard could last the rest of the season, but it's usually every 5 years, 1,000 hours, you want to start looking at a new outboard. That outboard is definitely well past that mark. And, well, maybe it should be a commercial for E-Tex, but the sheer load that has to push in shallow water conditions doesn't make for a great scenario for an outboard. But knock on wood, last time we planted it was running great, but we do have a new one ready to go. We also have a new 70 horse on our 17-foot DLX Carolina skiff, which I moved it from one side of the dock to the other, and it seemed really great. But it's a really slick. It's a slick outboard. That's not only a patrol skiff, but it is a low water rescue skiff. It used to have a 50-horse E-Tech on it, and so we've added an extra 20 horsepower to that boat because it really is kind of the Swiss Army knife in the fleet, in the Marine Services fleet, not only for shellfish patrols, low water rescues, getting on scene quickly, which I hear that it could do that. So I hear that it's pretty quick. But yet another commercial for a Yamaha outboard would going out and seeing Kenny and Wayne's barge that does the docks in the Westport River. And how is that large steel barge with a crane and all this stuff on it, but it's pushed by none other than a 70-horse Yamaha outboard. So it's definitely something that's been tried and true in the Westport River, and I figure that it would be a good addition to the Marine Services Department. So as far as I know, that boat is up and running excellent. We also do have a new 40-horse outboard for our 17-foot Payne and Franklin, or Franklin and Payne, or Wayne and Franklin.
Aluminum skiff.
The aluminum skiff. This skiff has serviced this town for the past, I don't know, 4 decades. This was Gary Sherman's baby. And that's another puddle jumper in the vein of it can skate across a puddle. And we've done some welding work to it, and it's the classic Shellfish patrol skiff, albeit the bow does dig in, just to let everybody know in case you're running it, in boat wake or swell. But to get somewhere in a hurry, the way that skiff is balanced, and it has changed the signs in Westport for decades. And I figure the boat's really only as good as the outboard that's on it. So we have a new outboard for that also. So we're looking pretty good in the world of outboards in the Shellfish department, because between a great outboard and the power of personnel, it's the two really most important things that you can do out on the river. Next thing that we can talk about is, well, the finances. Specifically in the Shellfish Gift Fund. To date, for calendar year 2025, from January 1 up until, what is today, June 24th, we were able to raise $105,505.62 that has been put into the Shellfish Gift Fund so far for the calendar year 25. Several things go into that. A big thank you to the Manton Foundation for their $100,000 commitment that goes into the Shellfish Propagation Gift Fund. That is to buy only shellfish for the Westport River. Nothing of salaries, gas, oil, things to fix the boat. I mean, we do over $100,000 in pure shellfish invoices that are planted into the Westport River. Another mechanism that puts money into this account would be lease slips. We were cashed in quite a few lease slips, so thank you to Lease Market for all of the lease slips that we've been able to get 1% over the overall total, minus taxes not included. Another mechanism that we use to put money into the Shellfish Gift Fund would be in the event of somebody passing in lieu of flowers. You can donate to the Shellfish Gift Fund, and people have done that. Also, when we send out the waterway user fee for the waterway user fee in the harbor department for any boats that are in Westport waters for more than 2 weeks, at the bottom of the cover page, we do have a little blurb that says if you'd like to donate to the Shellfish Gift Fund, you can do that also. So we've been receiving checks in with the registrations for the Shellfish Gift Fund. So that's another thing that puts some money in there. So that's a pretty great start between now and January 1, 2025. Right now, just shifting gears again, we are looking at a grand total in the Shellfish Propagation Gift Fund of $303,240.57. So that is the grand total right now for the Shellfish Propagation Gift Fund. That's more than enough money for us to finish our 5,000 bushels planting this season. I believe that we do have some quahog seed on order from Rod Taylor that we're going to have to take a look at. And then we'll have money for next year, and as well as the Manton Foundation for calendar year 2026. So we're looking in really good shape right now in the Shellfish department. New outboards, money in the bank, and we're always looking for people to help with the relay and planting. If you want to come and help with the shellfish propagation in Westport, specifically in the relay, come get a boat ride. See the sights, smell the smells, and people pay for cruises like we go on daily. So reach out to us on the email. You can get our email addresses on the Harbor website. Also, 508-636-1105 is our number down at Westport Point. If you'd like to help, contact us, and we'll add you to the texting tree of people that come and help. Once the trailer is loaded in Fall River, the text then goes out, and if you're available, takes about 25 minutes-ish to bring the show from Fall River, so you have that amount of time to get your boots, get your gloves, and meet us down at the boat ramp. Other than that, that's pretty much the update in a nutshell.
Any questions for Chris? Anyone?
Couple of comments. I think Chris will leave this department in pretty good stead. Financially, we've got a brand-new fiscal year with all the money that we will need to execute our duties. As far as equipment goes, we have essentially a brand-new fleet of Yamaha outboards. The rest of it is up to us, but I think Chris has done stellar work with all of this. And I think his effort goes beyond just leaving us financially sound and mechanically sound. I could not sit here and not comment about the amount of physical effort that Chris has put in to make the relay go. Because without the relay, there are no shell fishermen in Westport. I think we all know that. I have a little taste of that physical side of it because now I've got the ball. But Chris has been doing this for 10 years and keeping shellfishing going through not just his executive actions, but through his physical efforts to make this all happen. Some people question the wisdom of the shell fishery in Westport as it currently exists, but they do not understand the economics of this. Chris's effort brings a 25-cent quahog that comes off a boat to a $3 quahog that's sold at Joe's Restaurant. The economics of that we could study all day long, but it's not just about shellfishermen, it's about the economy and what it brings to all of this. So I just have to say, well done, Chris. I'm impressed. I didn't see you the first 7 years, but I've seen you the last 3. And I think everybody should say thank you, because this whole town owes you a debt of gratitude.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, I think we all echo. I think Bill was very eloquent in his comments and very right on the money. On behalf of the Shellfish Advisory Board, Chris, we really want to thank you for your service, for all you've done for the town, for your guidance, your wise counsel, your fiscal acuity, and helping us go along the way, because as Billy said, as Captain Billy said, without this propagation program, we'd all be doing other types of work. It just wouldn't be happening.
You know,
And to take it a step beyond that, the river's in great shape. The river's a lot cleaner. The estuary is alive and well, and a lot of that has to do with the 50 gallons that the each individual cohog filters. So the town owes you a debt of gratitude. I personally, haven't been on this board during your tenure, am grateful for what you've done, and I think you've helped us all grow. So for that, I want to thank you, and I want to wish you, and I think I'll say this on behalf of the board, I want to wish you all the best going forward. Best of health, longevity, and we'll see you around town. You're a young guy, you're not going anywhere.
No.
So, having said that, anyone want to
Yeah,
add?
well, I've seen it with my own eyes, working by yourself, putting in docks and doing whatever had to be done, and I appreciate it, and I wish you well, whatever you do next.
Thank you.
Having,
Well done.
Chris?
Well done. Very well done.
All righty, having said all that, we have, this is like a door. One goes out and the other comes in. With us, the new director of Marine Services is Bill Chase, who has served with us now for a year, Bill? More than a year? Have you been on this?
Excuse me, on this board?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, on the board, yes.
Yeah, it's been a little over a year, I guess, since I've
Okay.
been here.
So Bill is coming in, and I think it's only fair and respectful that, Bill, you share that with the Elkhorn director?
Well, it's gotta be from a local vendor, of course. This is a little gift to you, Chris, from partners and from all of us. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it's less than $50.
I hope it's chocolate. I'm in that mood.
Didn't come
Alrighty.
out of the propagation
Oh,
fund.
yeah, no, it didn't come out of the propagation fund.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you
Pleasure.
for everything you've done.
Thanks so much, all you've done.
Thank you.
Okay.
All righty. Moving on.
Oh,
Is
can I just, while we have Chris here,
Sure. Oh, he's not going anywhere.
well,
We're hanging on.
just, so we're talking shellfish, let's kind of pick his brain a little bit, if we can. So, Chris, I'm just curious, as far as the shellfish department goes, what would you advise the incoming characters to do going forward, based on what you've learned over 10 years?
Well, I mean, I learned a lot going to the Shellfish Officers Training at Mass Maritime Academy. That was a really big thing to open up. But I would also just say keep the train on the tracks. I stepped in following the tradition from Ab Palmer, Mr. Roach, Mr. Sherman. These were all very long-time people that kept a system going and kept it going and made it better. I think that the propagation side, adult cohogs are definitely more hardy than smaller seed, from my experience. And if you can spend the money on something that you know has a very good success rate, it's kind of undeniable that you want to keep that success rate average up, as opposed to, well, planting something that might have a rough road ahead of it. But I think with today's technology and being able to share information, show what we're doing, and document it too. I mean, with the cable access, being able to show the drone footage and of the hard work that we do, to have that documented for future generations. But I would suggest not rocking the boat too hard. Keep going what was taught to us from the people that did this for years. I mean, between Ab Palmer, Roach, Gary Sherman, they had a lot of success and a lot of failures. But I think that the relay cohogs are really something that are successful because they do live. That would be my best advice for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well taken. Okay, item 3. As Chris leaves, we're also going to lose another member, which is going to open up a position on the board here, which we'll address at another meeting. We want to accept the resignation of Captain Bill Chase due to the fact that he's going to be the incoming Director of Marine Services. Basically, you're just going to swap seats. So, Bill?
Well, someone's gonna go from being your friend to your not-so-friend, sitting in the hot seat over there.
He's my friend.
It doesn't have to be like that.
Well, I know these guys. So you're looking for comments for me from,
No, I'm looking for you to resign.
oh, you want a verbal resignation? Okay, so I formally resigned from the Shellfish Advisory Committee, effective July 3rd, actually.
Okay.
Has to coincide with everything else. So I'll submit a letter to you to make it formal that you can pass on to the powers that be, and I'm sure whoever takes my seat will bring something to the table. So,
Do I have a second on Bill's resignation to accept it?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor? Reluctantly? Chris, I know you want to say something.
I'm good, I'm good. It's just a different chair, that's all.
yeah.
That's exactly right.
Same guy,
Exactly
different
right.
chair.
So what I'll do is I will forward this to the town so that they can memorialize it, and then for our next meeting, we'll have Paula post to fill Bill's position. And then once we get those letters in, then we'll move forward from there.
Okay,
Very good?
good. How long will that be posted for, before we?
That's a good question. I don't know the
I think-
answer.
I think we should give it some time, because I think people need to think about it, whether
Yeah.
they want to do it.
Right,
And give them a chance to come up with a letter,
right.
and so,
It could be quite a while, not quite a while, but a while, because
Yeah.
you have to get the letters, review the letters, and
Yeah.
make it, interview them if we have to, and go from there.
Right.
Good, okay. All righty, having said all that, are there any other items that are not anticipated within 48 hours?
All you guys, you saw that documentary that we put out there on Facebook, the cohorts,
That was good.
the relay, and that was really something.
Do you want to comment on that, Bill? I mean, you.
Well, that was just one of those things that came out of nowhere. I think when that whole thing happened, I was doing the relay for Chris that particular day. I remember backing the trailer down. I get out of the cab, and this young man, David, said, hey, I'm here to film what you guys are doing. I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know that he worked for Valerie, with Valerie. But I gotta say, he did a pretty good job. If some of the info was a little, shall we say, askew, and maybe maybe we can correct it now. He said something to the effect that there were 50 cohogs per box. We know that's a little off kilter. It's more like 150. So that number that he used to equate how much water was filtered was also equally askew. That aside, you did a great job with a drone. I mean, you don't always get to see yourself from 20,000 feet, or in this case, 300 feet. And I think it really, to me, said, wow, this is something that's really cool to be a part of. I'm thrilled to be part of that. But to see it laid out in video like that, and the production that it was done was pretty awesome. So I hope David does more of that. He did actually reach out to me and say, I'd love to interview some of these guys. I'd love to talk to some of these shellfishermen. I was like, okay, good luck with that. But I also did volunteer in the same breath, actually. I'll take you out while they're out digging at Ram Island. If you want to, talk to them right alongside, we can certainly do that. Because that story needs to be told. Not just Chris's story and what he's done for all this, the story of all these shellfishermen, not just today's generation, but generations past, has to be told. So if we can get David out there and let him do his thing, that just helps everyone.
For those who do, just for the record, for those who don't know, and what Dean had brought up, there is a video out there on the Westport cable channel about, and it's called the Quahog Relay, and it's very, very well done. It's worth, if on a nice hot night when you want to go outside, it's worth the 28, 29 minutes of it. It's very good, very well done. It gives you a great shot of the beautiful river, and it gives you a really good idea of how hard the volunteers that run the relay work every day to get 5,000 bushels of quahogs into the river so that they can be harvested and clean the river. So if you're watching this or you do watch this, it might be worth scanning your phone and finding this video on YouTube. So
I think Chris and I would agree that the part that he missed was the part that happens in Fall River when they're actually loaded onto the trail. That's when all the physical work really happens. Very few volunteers there.
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just that.
Now, I neglected to do this from the beginning, but usually in meetings like this, they have public participation. So with us tonight, back from the west, we have Dora Milliken. Welcome back, Dora. Is there anything you want to add as for being a member of the committee for so many years, beyond and before and after Chris? So anything you want to share with us?
Good luck, Chris.
Thank you.
Happy trails and thanks for everything. I remember being there, trying to get you on board,
Thank you.
and it doesn't feel like it was 10 years.
Time flies.
But it sure
You
does.
got to make the best of it because, yeah, it really does.
All righty. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I motion we adjourn.
Second?
I'd like to congratulate Bill first on his new job and think,
Yeah.
I think it's, Westport is lucky to have you.
Okay, why don't you wait till like September, Dean? Because we may be having a battle with the shellfishermen if they don't show up for relay, so you may not be my friend after a while. But thank you just the
I don't
same,
see a
I
problem
appreciate
coming.
that.
Before we close it out, any suggestions, thoughts, or ideas on date for the next meeting? Or do you just want to wait until we post the job opening? For
Can I throw something out there while we have Chris here? The way that you have systematically seeded all of these relay areas, I think is beyond reproach as far as how well it has worked. Could you give us a little bit of insight, if you will, a little bit of advice as to how we should go about that going forward? Because right now, after Ram Island is done, there's nothing until Half Moon in December. So how would you go about that, Chris?
Well, a lot of it, well, I want to also say a very big thank you to John Borden, who helped advise the systematic planting of the relay and his thoughtful insight into when do we open, when do we close, how do we hit the market correctly. And so anything that is coming from me is going to probably be a regurgitation from him. So I would say in moving forward, the next entity that we would like to plant most likely would be David Road. And then, because we're looking at 5,000 bushels, we need to make a determination as to how many bushels we would like to plant into Half Moon Flat. 1,500, 2,000. Talked with the state, and they didn't seem to think that there was going to be a June 15th line in the sand for us, which is something that we needed to make sure. But I would be going to David Road next. After that, I'm going to have to look, because every year we send the state a preliminary planting guide as to what are we planting this year. And so this year was Half Moon Flat, was David Road, and I can't remember the last one, so we'll have to look.
Do we do Shiprocks?
Maybe there was Shiprock to Sunk Rock.
Yeah.
Right,
But
but that
that's-
hasn't been opened yet.
That hasn't been
Yeah, it hasn't
opened
been
yet,
opened yet.
so that
That's on the
leaves
list.
the planting in which we could then plant would be Judy's Island.
Judy Island or River Road.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Judy's Island is a location that you can get to pretty much on all tides because you have a channel to get up there. If you were to plant River Road, that's kind of only a high tide spot and you can't consistently plant it. So you'd have to simultaneously maybe plant Judy's Island and River Road when you had according tide in that direction.
What about the backside of Great Island, Chris?
Well, we, when we are going to plant a new area, we need to call the state beforehand and let them know that we would like to just say, for instance, that we would like David Road to be closed, sunrise 8 o'clock on, let's just say, July 20th, once we've planted everything into Half Moon Flat. At that point in time, we would have to get some closure buoys out in front of David Road to mark the closed area that you would be planting. Get the okay from the state that they've closed that area on their paperwork, and then you would be able to start planting. But we would be looking at planting David Road. It doesn't look like Shimprock to Sunk Rock would be available because
It will open
it's
this.
still planted from last time.
Yeah.
And that's not another place in just the scheme, or not the scheme, but the schedule of openings. I was thinking more schematics than scheming, selling watches or something. But more of the schematics of what we're opening next. So we're looking at a David Road planting, a Judy's Island planting, a River Road planting, all of which that would need to be, let the state know that we're gonna close those areas and then mark those areas with balls that say no shellfishing, contaminated relay. That's the verbiage that needs to be on the balls that would mark the sites. But as for what to open next,
Sunk Rock.
Sunk Rock, but the question is, and a lot of the times I like to go to public comment. I don't like to stand alone by myself saying this is when it opens. So John Borden was very great at reading the market, reading the crowd, seeing what we want to do for the openings, but we also don't want to open up all the relays at once and say, they're all open, have fun. Although it's something that we've never tried before. It would then scatter the boats everywhere, but I think enforcement would be difficult if you had an opening in Judy's Island and another opening at David Road. You would be going across the river a lot. So I think probably the next meeting wouldn't be a bad idea to talk about the schematics or the structure
How
of.
many bushels traditionally go into David Road? That 1,500, something like that?
Sometimes 2,000. David
Yeah.
Road's a big
It
area.
Take a lot on the
It
flat
can-
ground
it
and the
can take a-
channel.
Yeah, it can take a
So-
lot.
So, yeah,
So we're pretty much looking at more, just roughly, 2,000 bushels, more or less, going into Half Moon Flat. 2,000 bushels, more or less, going into David Road. And then an extra 1,000 to go up at Judy's Island. Now, of course, you can tweak those numbers so everybody gets about, 1,500-ish, or
Right.
give or take.
right.
Because it's not going to be right on the money. It's not going to be an even, smooth number.
Just split that 1,000 to do
Yeah.
River Road between
But
Judy's Island and River Road.
Judy's Island is somewhere that, it isn't going to hold 2,500 bushels. Ram Island
Plus
will
it's
hold
seasonal.
2,500 bushels easy, if you'd like to, because it's a very large plot. But these are things that we, next meeting, could look at. talk to the public, try to hit the dates of, well, maybe Thanksgiving's good. Is it Christmas? Because we all know Half Moon Flat is great for after Thanksgiving into early Christmas and the New Year's. But it's just hitting those notes pitch perfect, like John Borden was able to help us do. So a lot of that is just kind of his thinking and guidance with all of that kind of stuff.
So one thing strikes me, after hearing that, Chris, sounds to me like you're gonna take the place of John Borden from the advisory point of view. And is that a compliment? Absolutely.
Oh, is that a compliment? Yeah. I might need another 25 years. Gotta pay off my mortgage first.
And a gold tooth.
And a gold tooth. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But that's pretty much what we're looking at, is that, you know, we need to take a look and say, is what we put together, have what we put together a good schematic for the opening and closing. At this point in time, having 3 relay areas open, it's sometimes it's not the worst idea to have like a maximum of 2 opening. Right now, though, David Road's going to get planted soon, and it's dug out, so we could technically close that. But I'd like, in the way that I have operated, I like to leave it open till the bitter end, just to give people the opportunity. Because to shut it down right now, to say, yeah, we're going to plant it 2 weeks from now, we want to keep everything open for as long as possible.
Especially with the recreational.
Family.
Yeah.
For everybody, yeah. I mean, the more river that's open, the better.
Exactly.
But yeah, in looking at the next possible openings right now, the only relay area that is ready to open when we decide would be Shiprock to Sunk Rock. And I think at this point in time, it would be up to the board and the public to make that decision to say, shall we open it before Half Moon Flat opens in December, or do we wait a little bit? Because we also have to look at the revolving wheel of, well, what have we planted?
Exactly, what's gonna
up and
be
coming?
available.
And if we're only
We don't-
planting 3 areas,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's nice, it's better to have money in the bank than to
Right.
spend it all at once.
Empty pockets.
That's just my,
Nothing,
Also,
yeah.
take into consideration the oysters are gonna, you have to have them both open.
Oysters.
yeah. Well, there's the oyster thing, and the other thing also is that we need to double check for scallop season. A letter does need to go into the select board before that designated Saturday of the opening, before the opening. So that's something that we need to note, that we need to put something together from this board. I want to say, if you did it late August, early September, you wouldn't be doing the crunch time. I wish I could tell you the exact opening date of scallop season off the top of my head, but don't want to.
Second week of October.
Second week of October, yeah, so September, maybe mark in there, September, one of the September
Right,
select board
by the
meetings.
time the select board gets.
Yeah, that needs to get in there in September, just so when that opening happens, we have an okay
It always
from the
seemed like
select
it
board.
was a 3-day weekend around Columbus Day, and it went right through from there, if I remember correctly.
I know during my time, I've had some close calls of, oh, when's that opening? And I said, oh, did this go through yet? But luckily I was able to do that. But that's something that, especially when you get done with the dog days of summer and everything that comes at you, it can fall off your radar because other stuff gets pushed in the way, so.
Let me ask an obvious question. Would you be interested in becoming a part of this board from like this seat or that seat?
Not right.
Because it would be a shame to see all this talent and knowledge just go away.
I would say ask me in 6 months. I would say ask me in 6 months.
That in the notes.
I have some, yeah, I have some business that I need to take care of for myself. And And then 6 months from now, let me know. But I need to give myself a 6-month window to decompress and work on other things that I have going on in my life. So
Very good.
yeah.
Should we consider meeting again, say, the first week of August?
We could do that, or we could wait until the job is posted, the position is posted, and then set it, whatever you think. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, by then, we should have letters,
I would hope so.
yes.
So why don't
At
we
least
just
one,
tentatively,
If something comes up, you can call a meeting at any time.
yeah,
yeah.
everybody's around the second week in August, nobody's gone.
You know, I'll be here.
All right, well, could you make a note on that, Cap, and then we'll go from there. Okay, that was in discussion, so any further discussion on adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, aye. Thanks again, Chris. Thank you for your
Yeah.
service and your friendship
Well
and your
done.
leadership, and
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been an honor serving the town. Thank you. It's been a wonderful experience.